Good morning, welcome to Waking with the Word. We're in Psalm 94 and it's verse 17 to 23, which says, "Unless the Lord had given me help, I would soon have dwelt in silence of death. When I said my foot is slipping, your unfailing love, Lord, supported me. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. Can a corrupt throne be allied with you? A throne that brings on misery by its decrees? The wicked band together against the righteous and condemn the innocent to death. But the Lord has become my fortress, and my God the rock in whom I take refuge. He will repay them for their sins and destroy them for their wickedness, for the Lord our God will destroy them." Let's look back at verse 17. Unless the Lord. I preached a sermon once and I said every Christian should have a big but. Yes, the big but should be but God. But God in every single circumstance of my life. The psalmist here says, unless the Lord had given me help, I would soon have dwelt in the silence of death. And there are those of us who have got to the point where we really don't feel we can go on any longer. Everything is dark, and that place is a place where God is not. To despair is to turn our back on God. It says that in the film Anne of Green Gables. Marilla says it, and it's very true, because there is always God, and there is no pit, as Corrie ten Boom says, where his love is not greater still. But you can get to a place where you don't feel and can't see him. There are scriptures in the Bible that tell us not to rely on our eyes and what we see, because the heart is very deceitful, and it will tell you that things look good when they're not that good, and it will tell you that things look bad when they're never that bad. I know some people today may be in the most torturous of circumstances, but I want you to say, unless the Lord. When you've truly met him, you cannot deny he's there. So today, Father, we cry out to you and we say, come again and let us know your presence. Make us aware of your peace. I remember the song that says, when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll. The man who wrote that song had lost his wife and his daughters at sea. The boat had sunk, his whole family had died, and then he wrote that song. And the chorus says, "It is well with my soul." Why? But God. He lost his family, but God was still alive. And God has an answer, and God has a way of escape, and God has a presence, and his presence is glorious. And the word glory means to be heavy. It means when it comes upon us, it makes a difference. That difference is comfort. That difference is power. That difference is strength. That difference is peace that passes understanding. It passes understanding because you should have no peace in the circumstance. But because of his presence, you have peace. Because of his presence, you have self-control. Because of his presence, you have strength to endure. We used to sing a song in the Singers, and it said, I could wish you silver and gold. I could wish you all your dreams come true. But I wish you Jesus. Because when you have Jesus, you have everything. Verse 18 says, when I said my foot is slipping, your unfailing love supported me. My foot is slipping. I'm going down. Love doesn't stop a foot slipping, but it will slip with you and be there wherever you end up. And that is a support, because you know you're never there alone. You are there with the one who loves you more than anything you could ever imagine. An everlasting love is what you're loved with, says Jeremiah. My dad said to me once, Emily, We don't have to fear whether I have cancer or not. What we have to fear is ever living without God, because if I have cancer, but I still have God. If I die, but I go to be with God. If I have cancer, God can heal my cancer. But if I didn't have God, I'd have nothing. And my dad knew God, and I know God. And so his unfailing love supported us through all of my dad's illness. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy, says verse 19. I've suffered with anxiety, and so often I forget that when I suffer with it, I can suffer it with the Lord. It doesn't say he took the anxiety away, but it says he consoled the psalmist, which means the psalmist was in a communication with the Lord. My mum said to me once, Emily, never let anything or anyone separate you from your Lord. When Mary went to the tomb at Easter, she wept and she cried because they took her Lord away, and she wanted to know where to find him. And that is what God would love for each one of us, that relationship where we cling on to him no matter what, because then he can console us. Then he can be with us. Then our sureness of his great, incredible love will always look after us. A few months ago, I entered into a business deal, and I was promised a rather large investment. The investment fell through because the person decided they didn't want to chance their money. In fact, this person holds on to their money so much, it really is everything they rely on, and they say that themselves. I found myself getting into panic attacks. My breathing was erratic and my chest was tight. What was I going to do? Now I didn't have this money to put into this work that had already started. And I spent a good few days worrying and asking God what to do. And then one day he said to me, Emily, I need you to have sparrow faith. You became reliant upon that money, and the money is gone, but I'm still here. And you're panicking, but I'd never let you fall. And if you ended up in prison, you'd be there with me. And I realised that even if I didn't get the money, and even if I went to prison, I'd be there with my Lord. And Joseph, he was there with his Lord. And he did miraculous things. He comforted people in that prison because of his relationship with God. God can give me consolation in every circumstance, even the ones that he or life does not free me from. But if I forget him, then he never will be able to, because God needs my ear. I need the Lord to be my fortress and my God to be my rock, in whom I take refuge, as it says in verse 22. I have to take refuge. It doesn't just happen. I must choose it. When something goes wrong, I must take a seat with him in his presence and talk it out and trust him and leave it in his hands and ask for his unfailing love to support me and surround me in whatever circumstance I am in. Look at verse 20, verse 21 and verse 23. It says, can a corrupt throne be allied with you, a throne that brings on misery by its decrees? You can be sure that whatever you do to work something out for yourself, whatever you do to fight back and bite back, is going to come back and bite you, because God is not allied with pride. God is not allied with any kind of violence or hatred, whether it's deserved or not. And something done to you that is against his law of love will be avenged. He will get vengeance because he loves you. Verse 21 says, the wicked band together against the righteous and condemn the innocent to death. Then in verse 22, which I've already read, the psalmist says that he takes refuge in God, even though this is happening. He's innocent and he's being condemned to death, but he's taking refuge in his God, because even if he gets killed, and God is with him. Verse 23 says, He will repay them for their sins and destroy them for their wickedness. The Lord our God will destroy them. And the joy, brothers and sisters, is not in the fact that anybody gets destroyed. The joy is in the fact that, number one, God is always with me. Wherever I go, whatever I do, I have the opportunity to take him with me, and no one can ever take him from me. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter what they think, no one can take my Lord away. Number two, the joy is in he's told us how to live. He's told us how we can actually be free from guilt and condemnation, going his way, the law of love, and taking him with us. And number three, the joy is that although these people who hurt us are not going his way, and they're going a way which in the end will lead them to destruction, they have a chance to turn round and not suffer those consequences. And our hearts can be free from the desire for them to pay too. Because if we always want each other to pay, then the whole world is going to go on paying till the day this world gets destroyed. Today we need to leave our resentments, our hatred, our pride, our pain in the hands of the one who loves us with unfailing love, and be very grateful that whatever happens, he will never, ever let us go. And I hope that everybody walking this earth experiences that. Today should be a day off in the Come Back to God campaign. Team members will be getting on with housework. They'll be resting. Please pray that the Lord strengthens them and encourages them as they rest, if they get to rest, because quite often there are things that come up and we just have to jump and do them. But we're praying for you as well. And I'm asking that you would message us, even if, and particularly if, you are at your wit's end. Today I spoke about God being with you in every circumstance. We can't promise to take things away or make things physically better, but we can promise that we will pray that you will have God's endurance, God's peace and God's strength in every circumstance. So please message us, please get in touch. We love you all. Lots of love. God.